Hey everybody, welcome to the Multifamily Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Peterson. I'm actually here with my wife today, my lovely wife. Say hi, Shelley.
Hi everybody, Mama Kahuna here.
We really have a special show for you today because, and believe it or not, we're going to talk about real estate, but not in a way different way than we normally do, because we have some amazing guests that I think you're going to want to hear their story. And this is almost, I want to call it the relationship show today, but I want to bring on Ramon and Christy Gonzalez with Summit Home Buyers. They have a really cool podcast called Both on Board, and really it's about, we're going to unpack their journey as how they became kind of husband and wife and how they manage this thing called business, you know, how it gets in the way and the relationship stuff, and how to keep that home life like healthy and strong. So guys, welcome to the show.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So, unpack your story a little bit and kind of give us your background on who you guys are and you know how you guys met and how you got into business and all that stuff.
Okay, so I guess I'll start. I was, prior to us becoming an item, I was a fourth grade reading teacher for 5 years, and then 2008 we met, and it was actually around the time of the whole real estate correction. So he was already in real estate. He can say his side later, but I was a teacher, and I was happy, and I also saw how his lifestyle was as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, being in real estate. And little by little, I started to just get really interested in that side of the life, like that side of the business, and helping him and doing all the things that he was doing on his own time and on his own schedule. So coming from an employee mindset into an entrepreneur mindset, I think is one of the biggest shifts that I had to make from 2008 to present day, that we are now have our business together. I am no longer a teacher. 2012, I decided to retire from teaching.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the whole teaching world's missing you right now. I know this, but
I miss it too. I still miss it. And I just, we can go deeper and deeper into the story, but throughout all these years, just seeing the impact that obviously teaching is a very impactful career, and I loved it, and I got so many great memories and things out of it. But just the fact that we've been able to kind of merge our worlds, and I was able to become his sidekick in real estate, and seeing all of the growth that we've done in the last 10 years has just been super awesome. And just doing it together, I think, was our favorite part, which is why we started the podcast, which is why we're so passionate about, meeting like-minded couples like you guys, and just seeing how we can all make it work, and how it's just so much more synergistic when you're doing it together, right? When you're working together, you obviously live together, you got kids together, you're doing it all together. It can sound a little scary.
Some people can say that could be like a curse.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like people look at us like we're insane sometimes, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you could look at it that way, but once we got our stride, once we figured things out together, and we figured out what worked for us, which is important, because sometimes you want to copy somebody else's model or somebody else's thing, and that's absolutely not our message on our podcast, or even on what we talk about day to day. Like, it's not about a set formula, it's about figuring out together what works for you, and that's really our biggest message, and why we're excited to continue on this journey together and grow and learn and meet amazing people like you guys. So
Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome, baby.
Let's get your side now.
My side, just that. I mean, we've been doing real estate since '05. I did a corporate. I did a GE corporate I graduated from here, from Miami, born and raised, and I went to Stamford, Connecticut. Never seen the cold, right? Lower middle income, and then you go up there, and you work corporate for 2 or 3 years, and like 70, 80-hour work week plus school on top of that, because they were kind of grooming you to be CFOs. And hated it. I was miserable. I did it. I finished the rotation program, and then I started investing into multifamily and up in Connecticut. And I said, you know what? I want to get back to Florida, back to family. We sold most of the holdings up there, came back down here, and then we couldn't buy multifamily down here, so started fixing and flipping and wholesaling. And then kind of 07, 08, I kind of saw something coming. Mostly, we didn't have a whole bunch of rentals. We sold mostly everything. We were just wholesaling. So I said, you know what? I don't really need to do this. I started just taking a little time off. So when she came into my life in '08, I was already in the pimp my life stage. You know, I already had sold everything. I was living on South Beach, playing semi-pro beach volleyball and working out. Like it was more of a season just to kind of unwind for me from the '04 to '08 going hard. 15, 16 hour days. I think initially, I think one of the things for us, at least for me, has been seasons to life. Right? There's a spring, and in spring you're planning. Right? You're working, you're hustling for lack of. Even though I'm not a fan of that word, but you're putting in the time. You're planting. Right? Really, the word there is planting. And it's you're learning how to plant, especially if you're new. And I think that there's no substitute. There's no substitute for that spring season of someone's life. They just got to do the work. Right?
Yeah. Sometimes I always say like you got to sprint and marathon. Right? Sometimes in life, you got to really sprint. You got to put in some time, but you really got to learn how to marathon. It's that long journey. How do you sustain? That's really super important, and that's what you guys are talking about there. Now, let's talk. So we'll finish that story. So then you started. You got in that point, and then
yeah. So '08, she comes into my life, and then she's a school teacher, and then there was a disconnect in the relationship. We really couldn't connect to each other, and I've always wanted to do it with someone, right? So she got into like a multi-level marketing thing called ACN. And I said, well, dang, she's going to hustle. And I was seeing her like get her hustle on doing that. And I go, babe, we could do that. And we could pay those 10,000 hours there. Or we could come into real estate where I've already paid 10,000 hours and we could do it differently. So we went to a Date with Destiny in Australia with Tony Robbins. And then she chose to quit her job,
What was that like? At that event, you said, I'm going to quit my job. Is that where you made that decision?
Yeah, so it was literally the 2 weeks before school started in August of 2011. And like 3 days in, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I don't want to teach anymore. And he was like, okay, what's next? He's like, so then we, little by little, we started talking about
that
it.
had been like super invigorating, like to make that decision, like,
I mean, yeah,
just
both.
yeah, and scary, right?
And scary. I was like, it was both. It was very exciting, and it was also scary. Like my whole family is pretty much teachers, and that whole employee.
What are they gonna
so
say?
I didn't even know what an entrepreneur really was until basically I met him. I was like, what is that? What do you mean? You just work for yourself? You make money when you sell the deal and that's it? Like you don't have anyone to answer to or anything? So it was a big mindset shift for me. And I think
it's like you're reborn, Christy.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to let your old self die, and now you're looking forward to the new you. And I could totally relate to your story because I was right there with you, girl. But but I felt a little bit sad. But then, but I went down kicking and screaming. I didn't want to jump into the business right away.
Oh no! Okay.
Our story, So carry on, sister.
I think something that's interesting on both of our sides is you guys like Hawaii, but for us, we had never done a big long trip. Like it was 21 days. We went to like 4 or 5 cities in Australia, and I think I don't know this I don't want to speak for her, but I think that also like she looks back and saying, hey, what I was making as a teacher, there's no way we could have afforded. That was a 1-year salary was that trip, right? Yeah. So I think I was like, well, if we really want to do this like this, then there's just we want to adjust. We can adjust our income to fit the lifestyle we want, not the other way around, right?
Boom.
I think get what you want. There's nothing wrong with wanting nice experiences. I mean, for us, it's more about the experience than it is about the actual material things at this point in our life. But why not? Why not have both? Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's really cool. So and so you take all that from that, and now you guys are doing. What do you primarily do now? And like, what's your guys' roles now?
So right now we're basically in the lending space. So we just lend money to people that used to do what we used to do, which is
people like me,
people like Corey. But prior to that, and talking about the seasons, I think that was once I retired from teaching. I didn't quit. I retired, and then we started the business, and we started going into the fix and flip. We started buying rentals. We started doing the wholesale. We did a little bit of all of it.
Staff, employees, physical
the office,
space, right, all that.
And then once we had our daughter, which was in 2016, we shifted gears completely, and we were then in that season of okay, what can we do now to make things a little bit more passive, a little bit more like free time, like the lifestyle became more.
So you guys went back into the wholesale business and really built up a bunch of rentals, right?
Yeah.
And so you kind of took a break, and then all of a sudden you're quitting. You're like, I want to go real estate full time. I want to live this entrepreneurial life. So you guys both say, hey, let's jump in, let's do it. You amount a whole mass of properties and really put some work in, and then you have a baby, and it changes everything.
Oh, yeah, and you know what too? Like I think with going back to the seasons, like you stop being fun. Like having a team. Like she used to kind of run the people. She used to kind of be the COO and deal with the people. It feels like office space because I'm not good with people, right? So but it's like I didn't want to deal with managing people. I like with the sellers, I like managing money. I like that piece. I didn't like dealing with the actual employees and staff. And she would help. And then like kind of when she left,
she's a teacher. She knows how to work with people. And once she left, now I was in charge of that role plus everything else, and it just stopped being fun. And so I said, you know what, babe, it was her idea to say, hey, let's shut it down. But it was tricky, Corey, because that's a bold idea though too.
Yeah,
for something that's working, that's a bold idea.
Right. That was the hardest part, walking away from something that was actually making us money.
Giving you affording lifestyle too, right?
Yes.
We were netting 7 figures a year on the fix and flip business, but it was a lot of, and I'm like, babe,
but it's a rabbit hole. It's an endless rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Right.
And luckily, we had some rentals. They had appreciated in value. We were cash flowing them, and then we sold everything, closed it all down. And then we started, from that capital, started, saying, hey, how do we get on the other side and start being more on the money side and, work deals together and just free up our time.
And so you got into lending space. So that's an amazing story, by the way. So like, this is where most people, I think there's a lot of real estate professionals out there that get into this game and they go, even if they start holding stuff, they realize that they're not buying they're always just flipping. Right, you guys you came up with a bigger vision, which is let's have lifestyle, and the solution was, hey, let's sell everything, and now we have money, let's lend it, let's understand that model. So that's a whole new model to learn too. Now, how did you guys do that together? How did that become? Does that play on your strengths, Ramon, or is that?
Yeah, I think early on, I was brand new to real estate, so I had to learn everything quickly. And I remember one time we were actually working from home. When we decided to start our business, we actually moved in together that same weekend. So it was actually Thanksgiving weekend, 2011. I got home and I told my mom and my grandma, I was like, we're going to start a business. I didn't tell her yet that I was going to not teach anymore, but I was like, and we're going to move in together. And my mom was like,
what?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
So that was a big thing. It was moving in together. So learning how to live together, work together, and then build this dream that we had. And initially we didn't have the lending in sight. Like our goal was, we're going to get all these rental properties and then we're going to live off the cash flow and it's going to be so amazing and beautiful. And then that turned into, okay, this isn't how it's working out. Like Ray says, like our tenants are not cooperating with our spreadsheets that say that they're going to pay. So that's when we just like that whole just being I guess it's agility or resilience, flexibility. Yeah. Like we were able to see, which is how we've been able to just transition, not quickly because it's actually taken us 2 years to transition to this place that we're at now. But being able to transition and say, okay, you know what, this isn't working. What can we do to get to the next phase? And what can we do to the next, and doing it together. When you talk about the doing it together thing, at first we were doing everything together, right? Like he would go to appointments, I would go to appointments. He would do cold call, and then he would tell me to cold call. I'm like, I don't want to cold call. So what we learned from that was, what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses? What I am really good at, he's usually not good at. And then vice versa. So what we started to see was, okay, he's good at being the front man and going and seeing the sellers and dealing with the vendors. I'm good at putting the contracts together, doing the research on the property, closing the deal, doing the closing checks. Like we started to see what we're each good at.
All the detail stuff.
All the detail behind the scenes stuff.
It's critical.
And so when we realized that, like, it was almost like a light bulb. It's like, okay, so this is my lane and this is your lane. And then when we come together, like, that's where the magic happens. Because obviously, like he would tell me at the beginning, he's like, oh, if it was for you, we wouldn't close any deals because I didn't like any deals that were a little bit hairy.
She was very conservative.
And then I was like, well, if it was for you, we'd just buy, anything and lose money. And we're not doing that. We're not losing money. So really coming together and I think opposites attract in relationships. So I think for the most part, at least. And so really getting clear on what each of us was great at and then working off of those strengths.
How do you fight fair?
How do you fight fair?
I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna. I was gonna say, well, I mean, we don't fight because I always win, so it just doesn't even.
It's a great question. I think at this point, Corey, like with one of the things I'm most proudest about us working together is how self-aware she is and how self-aware I am. Where, like, if she's saying something to me, in the past I would fight it, but now I'm like, dude, she's calling me on something, and the reason I'm like not listening to it is because I'm fighting it, and there's some truth to it. So I've learned over time, like, all right, what is she like? She'll say this person, hey, look, this person wants to do a loan, right? He's a B borrower at best, and why are you trying? Like, and I'm like, babe, I'm so like in love with the person. You know us, I'm an eternal optimist, right? No, but babe, he's a good dude. He'll figure it out. Like, right, but look at the results. He's paid late a few times. Like, look at what's actually you know what I mean? And sometimes I'll miss that and I go, you know what? She's right.
Yeah.
Right? She's so just knowing that's her strength, being able to read people, and then her knowing what my strengths are, right? You know, a lot of personality testing, you know, DISC, Colby, unique ability. If you guys are working together, I definitely recommend those personality tests so you can figure out who's good at what, and then how do you actually work with each other and allow iron to sharpen iron. A lot of us won't allow that because it sucks sometimes, right? To hear that, hey, you're falling short as a dad, or hey, you're falling short in this other area of your life. Dang, it sucks. But if she's not, you know, I'd rather her tell me than not know, and then, you know, like, right? So, and these talks probably happen daily, if not weekly, between us. Hey, babe, you're falling off over here. It's just a constant, and it's not like, hey, it's just, dude, like, this is not what you say you want. Let me help you get there. And vice versa. Hey, babe, you said you were going to go to yoga this morning and you didn't. Like, what's up? Right? So.
Said Corey never. Them are almost fighting words, huh, baby?
Yeah. I'd probably cut you. You didn't go to your bar class.
What
this
questions
morning?
you want to ask, Shell?
No, I mean it's fascinating to me because when I listen to both of your roles when we talk about business, I want to say that personally I struggled in that area. What would I be more valued at in the business? Now again, I went down kicking and screaming. I come from a corporate America background, district manager in a pharmaceutical company. I'm an alpha. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And Corey's an alpha. So how do two alpha dogs get along in the same court? So again, it's going back to I say it like this, not stay in your lane. I just say know your role and shut your hole. So that's how Mama Kahuna rolls. So
Yeah.
but when you talk about the specific duties, I am the closer. I am the one that herds in the, we call it herding cats. I plan our events.
You collect the money.
I collect monies.
Right.
I'm the closer.
So when we raise capital, I get them all ready and they get them to say yes. And I'm like, now you got to deal with Shelley.
Okay.
And Shelley works with an extreme aggression. Like, it's very intent. Like, she's, I want to say, for lack of a, you're Asian. I mean, Mama don't mess around, man. Like, she don't play. When you said yes, she thinks you mean it.
Well,
right?
and it's either you in or you're out, and no hard feelings. But don't tell my husband yes, and then you're having reservations. So if that's something you need help working through, I'm not gonna push you for me to take your money. If you're we don't want it, right? So we always say don't chase capital. The capital will come to you. And so, but I'm very specific on what I need from each investor, right? Mm-hmm. I need this paperwork done. I need this, done on this specific date. So, Corey, I don't know how you used to do it, but you did. Again,
it's kind of like how we used to manage properties. You figure it out because you have to, but it's not like you know what I mean. It's just part of the business.
But then you get someone that you can trust, because really. The relationship, when you're doing it with your spouse, it's really about trust, right? Yeah. Like, I've got to trust that she knows, and trust and communication, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's no one that I know has my back better than my wife, but sometimes I'm like, what the hell, right? Like you have the what the hell moments, and you're like, oh, you're right, and then I just I put down my head,
I've been there,
right? Yeah. All right, so I'll just shut up and go back in my office, and I'll let you handle it. She's like, honey, like I'm playing chess here, you're playing checkers, and so I've learned to let go, and so because I'm a strong entrepreneur, and that's really hard. I think there's a lot of listeners out there thinking about, like, when we have spouses that come in and they want to be part of your business, right? to let go is hard. Would you guys agree?
Oh,
Absolutely.
it was hard for us.
It was very difficult, and I think one of the things that kept coming up as you guys were speaking was for us, one of the biggest learning lessons that we had when we did have the office and we had employees in the office was we had to come to the agreement that even though we were both, it was our business and it was our, everything was ours, there has to be one chief. There has to be one person in charge that at the end of the day, there is no mommy said this and daddy said that. And we saw that early on with a couple of people, and it was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Behind closed doors, we can discuss and we can talk and we can all that. But in front of the office, like in face-to-face stuff with employees, he is in charge. And whatever he says goes. And if that's what he says, then that's what we're doing. Because, and it was obviously very difficult for me because there were times where I was like, Ray, don't give an answer.
Does this sound familiar?
It sounds so familiar.
But that helped us tremendously with all of the, day-to-day stuff, even with the tenants. Oh, but I spoke to, Miss Christy and she said this. And I'm like, hey, wait a second. Like that irks me to like when they say, when they try to push, pit us against each other. And it was like, and that was one of the things that we learned early on, especially with the tenants, with the vendors, and with our team, our team members. Like it was like Ray's in charge, and if that's what Ray said, then that's what happens. And if later on I have to go behind closed doors and be like, "What the heck were you thinking? Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
And that was happening.
It's just like your parenting. It's honestly like
exactly.
parenting. Like you wouldn't want to fight in front of your kids, so you got to pull back and be like, "Hey, listen, we got to agree this is how we parent. We do it this way, right? Yeah, great. Okay, now we're solid front. Let's go back to to doing what we do."
Right.
But business is just like that, especially with your spouse, right? Yeah. Now, and like, listen, people out there that are listening, I'm sure you've screwed this up. Okay, we've screwed it up.
Oh, we screwed it. We still screwed up. I mean, we
sometimes you're like, oh gosh, we just did that in front of our people. That's bad, right? And then we were like, let's not do that again, right? And it really, but your employees actually want that. They want you to be that unit, right? And they understand that you're going to have your lapses. They love you anyways, is what I found, right? But they like it when there's clear, concise leader in charge.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree. What other obstacles would you guys say that you guys have had to overcome in working together?
Well, I think the biggest question that we usually get is how do we not separate, but like draw lines, like, okay, this is business time, this is personal time, this is, and over the years,
when do you turn it off?
Yeah, like when do you turn off? When do you turn off the business? And for us, again, we're preachers on do what works for you, figure it out. But for us, like we just don't turn it off. Like it's
never
just all.
It's just part of it.
It's all part of
the it, right.
Yeah.
Give me some, baby. Because we don't turn it off either.
I like to turn it off.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's moments where it's like, you know what, Ray, I can't. Don't talk to me about this right now because it's not. It's just
we
not
have boundaries.
penetrating.
Hey, Ray, if you want to send me something, send us something through this email if it's not urgent, right? But normally, if we're just on a walk,
everything's
and
urgent for Ray.
Business,
oh yeah.
Hey, babe, here's what's going on. But we have set times. Hey, babe, on this meeting every week we meet on finances. Hey, babe, here's how money went out, money went in. Here's what we're doing with this. Here's what we're doing with that. Right. So there's scheduled times, and yet if something came up, we just, hey, what's going on in your day? And we just talk about it.
Yeah, I find that sometimes I'll be like we're going on walks, right? We're holding hands and walking our dogs, and then I'm like, because like sometimes I get ideas in my head and I'm always like building. I'm always building my business. I tear it down and then I rebuild it, right? I do this 10,000 times a day, and then I just want to share it with somebody, right? And unfortunately, Shelley gets the blunt of all my ideas, and they're not always good, right? But that's my role. I am that visionary.
And I'm the integrator. So as an integrator, my mind totally goes to, well, crap, how am I going to build this?
Like,
where is it? Like step by step.
She usually tells me no.
Yeah. Because he is a white rabbit chasing son of a gun. I tell you what. This man.
She tell me is no, or she'll go, do you really want that, or is that something that you just thought of, and then is it really going to work out? Does it fit your lifestyle? Like somebody's like, yeah, that's a good idea over here, but is it actually, like, think about it a little bit more, and then you're like, you know what, babe? That's going to require a whole bunch of other steps that I don't really want to do right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. Well, so what's cool about this podcast is going to come out, I think, right after the new year, right? And so what have you guys done for like planning for 2020? did you start that a while back, or like, what do you guys like? How do you start planning your goals, like life, business, and all that? How does that work for you guys?
Well, this whole thing was our end of the year kind of thing. We started in September and we just finished 75 Hard.
That's
And
awesome. Good for you guys.
we did it together, which similar to what you were saying, like Ray started it like 4 or 5 times throughout the beginning of the year, and he just would fall off.
I've felt it. I've not finished it yet, bro. Like,
Well, the
it's
fact-
It was like 7 or 8 times.
Yeah,
dude.
like literally like every week he was, okay, I'm starting. Okay, I'm starting. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna commit when I'm ready to commit. And then finally I was ready. And we finished
We're
it.
waiting for after the holidays.
Well, right before the holidays, so it was perfect, right? And then we actually just did. We just recorded a podcast. So I think it comes out.
Tomorrow.
No,
The
it
Thursday.
came out last week. That one
Oh,
came out
oh,
last week
that-
on,
last week
on our
on-
New Year's stuff. So
On this whole same topic is what you're asking. The
so
last
one
week's
of the
podcast,
one
yeah.
of the things that for us was amazing was the fact that we did more towards the end of the year than we did the whole of like doing 75 hard, committing to 75 hard, which if you look it up, it's a bunch of stuff every single day for 75 days. And it actually laid this really strong foundation for us that we didn't have toward the beginning of the year. In the beginning of the year, there was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of like, we were confused. We were lost. We didn't know what to do next. Like there was a lot going on, but there was nothing going on at the same time, if you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
now come September, we start this commitment, right? And we did it together. So it wasn't, like, oh, let's see what happens. It was like, we're doing this, like we're finishing this. We were actually on vacation at the beginning of December in St. Thomas, and it was the last day of our vacation was the last day of 75 hard. And so we spent the whole vacation doing the things that we needed to do to complete this, right? We were like on day 70, right? We can't stop now. And it just laid such a strong foundation for us that's what inspired us for last week's podcast, for example, was like laying that foundational stuff before getting to January 1st, for example. Like January 1st, everybody has a bunch of stuff that they want to commit to, but if you have to look at where you are and then start building that foundation little by little, because if you commit to something like 75 hard, but you never walk, you never drink water, like if you're like so opposite on the end of the spectrum that you're going to start something crazy like this, I'm not saying it won't work, but laying that foundation and seeing where Ray calls it the gray zones, like where are you gray, like where are you not feel, is it your health, is it your relationship, is it your business, is it your parent, is it your relationship with your kids, is it your like relationships that are going bad in your life, like what are those couple of gray areas that you can look at and start there. Like, don't just say everybody's going to the gym January 1st, so I'm going to go to the gym January 1st. Like, do you even like the gym? Because I don't like going to the gym. Like, I am not a gym person. Like, I like yoga, I like walking, I like doing things outside, I like, kayaking. Like, I like outdoor stuff. So I'm not going to commit to, but people commit to going to the gym because somebody gave them a gym membership, and that's like, get clear on what it is that you really want and what you want your year to look like. Like, where do you want to be next December? And then start from like the little baby steps. So like, I think that's for us was huge. Is just now.
What about vacation and stuff like that, like family time and things like that? How do you guys pencil that in your calendar?
We're a little bit special. Like, we basically are diehards in personal development. So we basically plan our vacations or our time away through like what mastermind group or what seminar, what event. Like Australia, our trip in 2011 was planned around Day with Destiny, and then we're like, oh well, let's stay an extra week and let's go a week early. So we try to do, like, right now we're going in January in February to, where is it? Colorado?
Middle of January. No, to LA.
Well, the one that we're taking, Valentina.
We don't know if we're going to that one.
Oh, so for example, in February we're thinking we're going to, is it Aspen? Vale?
Colorado, yeah.
Something in Colorado, some kind of skiing thing,
right?
Which we're not fans of. But we're like, okay, we'll take our daughter, we'll take someone to take care of her, we'll go to this event, and then we'll plan around it. And for us, it's like almost like it makes sense. Like, we're learning, we're growing, and then we're exploring the city that we're at.
Playing at the same time.
Yeah,
right?
and making it both, and that's where we integrate life and business, and we can do both. We're still talking about business, we're still meeting cool people, and we're also spending time with our daughter.
By the way, I want to let you guys know you look great.
What's
75 hard, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Just want to say that.
We're a little fluffy right now.
We need to start 75 hard, honey.
I'll do 5 days.
It's
Hey, you want to commit? You want to commit with me right now on the
Well,
podcast?
like Christy said, don't get crazy. Don't get crazy. If you've never done
I
anything,
need an accountability partner, honey.
Well, then that would mean you'd have to go dancing with me because that was something that was just crystal
you
clear.
can go dance
I
on
like
your
bar
own.
and I like to dance and I like to cook. So I'm going to culinary school. Peace out.
Ooh,
Mama
nice.
Kahuna is leaving the business. No, I'm
I
kidding.
like that.
I think that you guys will like something that we've learned about setting these goals and everything else is like everyone set the goals, but then what's the daily really ritual you're going to put in place to make sure you hit that and that it's sustainable and enjoyable? Because if you're going after this target, whatever the target might be, but you don't have this daily practice. So for example, like a faith practice. Well, I'm reading this book 10 pages a day and then I meditate and or pray for 10 minutes a day. But if I don't do that daily consistent habit, then I fall off track. And I'm like, dude, what happened? Like why did I go sideways on things? Well, I stopped doing my daily commitments. If it was to go to the gym and that's or to stretch or whatever that is. So in every area, faith, finance, friends, family, finances, right? You should have a daily thing you do where it should take a whole lot of time, but that it keeps you in check, and it compounds. Like something as simple as a 45-minute walk, just a walk over 75 days is life-changing.
Yeah.
We like to walk a lot.
Yeah.
Now, when you guys finished your 75 days hard, are you finding yourself still continuing that behavior?
A lot of it.
The 10 page, because I mean, it's challenging. Like 2 workouts a day, drinking a gallon of water, doing your 10 pages of devotion of reading.
10 pages of reading, like a physical book, can be audible.
Reading, a gallon of water, no drinking, whatever the diet is, stick to it.
See, Mama likes her wine, so
It's just, you know what, it's probably been the best thing we've done together as a couple, and then also in terms of like just honoring promises you make to yourself, like building self-confidence. So like, and then because you do it for 75 days, I've been to a place in my life before where I've been in this kind of shape, where I've been in this kind of health, or I've had this level of faith or fitness, and then all right, cool, I made it. And then you kind of like let off the gas, and then everything kind of goes back. And I saw that happening for 2 or 3 days, and come Monday, as soon as we came back, I go, babe, I'm back on for, live hard. So it's everything else 75 hard is, but 5-minute cold shower a day.
That's where I draw the line.
Meditate for 10 minutes, and what's the other one? Three additional commitments, like 3 things that need to get done that day to move the business forward that are not already part of your habit. So 3 new items, and I know that once you hit a target, if you don't set the next one above that, you end up
the thermostat
cools down. And I've been there when it happens to the next
done, that's Corey's mantra. I climb a mountain and then I go down it. And then I'm like, gosh dang it, I need to climb the mountain again. But what I need to do, you're right though, is once I climb the mountain, just look at another mountain to climb and just start right away.
I learned it from Tony Robbins. I mean, I made the mistake of not setting that, and then it's like, you know what? Like, let's just, before you hit the goal, hey, what's where, right? Because what now a walk is comfortable. So how do I get a little more uncomfortable with the walk? And now a 45-minute workout is comfortable. How do I change it up a little bit? That's kind of where I'm looking to now. How do I start to like stay at that level, if not more, right? So
what's the best advice you could give to couples that are out there that are working together that would really help them?
Well, let me back up a second before that question. One of the things we struggle with initially too, that one of the reasons why I would say to work together is, Corey, I'm sure you and Shelley didn't have the same money habits, right? She was raised a certain way with money, and so like this idea of our money blueprint. And then when we came together, like I looked at it one way, and I'm not saying my way is right. I'm just saying it was different. But us like building it together, it started to align our values around money together. So when we say, hey, personal development, our budget for personal development, because that's what we're into, is pretty much inelastic, right? We don't like, if we want to do this mastermind, okay, we do it. If we want to do it, we do that, right? So, but that came from doing it together. And yet initially, kind of one of the biggest pain points was that, because, like entrepreneur, you kill what you eat, but she was used to having a paycheck. So when she came into the business should have transitioned it a little bit easier by paying her a paycheck. But at that point, I was in my own way, and I said no, and then it created a scarcity piece. And like, so I think and it was, she'll tell you, it was one of the best things that I could have possibly done, because it taught her to actually build that muscle out. So I think one of the reasons for you to do this, it's a great way to align those money values together like nothing else. So like I'm not checking her what she buys or she don't. I already know that her money values are very similar to mine, and it's what we've chosen, and we built it together. And it wasn't what I originally started with because
Right.
I had
Let
to
me add to that. I'm just going to add a little piece to that. Okay, every woman, I don't care who you are, needs a sneaky account. Okay, Shelley has a sneaky account. It's an account. I'm actually on it, but I have no idea how to log into it or whatever. But we've put money into that account. It just kind of goes.
It's for my girls' trips.
And that's just for whatever Shelley wants to do, right? She wants to
Christy
get
has
her.
one.
She wants to get her nails done. I mean, like we share all our other monies together openly, right? But she's got one account that I call her sneaky account, and it's oblivious to Corey Peterson, and I like it that way. I think you like it that way, don't you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Yeah, sure.
I mean, it is. Yeah, I like when I want to buy you something. I can
Right, or
use
just
my,
stuff, because I look at my
if I
accounts
wanna-
all the time, right?
Right.
And so I'd see it, right? Or just, I don't know, I just like that you have a sneaky account. I think it's important that,
My sneaky count is a little low right now.
yeah, see,
Uh-oh,
there you
it's
go.
Christmas time.
Needs some additional funding.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Christy has something similar to that, and then she just
Shelley will find checks made out to, like, my name or whatever. Like, and she's like, oh, hey, I'll go to the bank, honey.
This is fun to me.
And she knows that I don't look at it that hard, so I don't even know, right?
Well, but I love that it's like, that's what works for you guys, and like what comes up for me is like people that when like you would make it wrong for her to have a sneaky account, or she would make it wrong for you to look at her account because why are you looking at my stuff? Like it's that part where it's like you're making each other wrong where things go sideways, and it's
Yeah.
usually unfortunately around money with most relationships and marriage, and it's like that, those hard conversations, like I'm sure you guys set that up in a certain way after a certain conversation or a certain thing that went whatever it was that brought you to that
Well,
place.
it used to be
you guys-
holy hell.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Listen,
when we first.
this is World War III. Every Sunday night, it was like we'd go to church and pray and get godly, and then we'd go home that night to do bills, and it was like, where's the $2.50? I know you spent it.
Why did you
Tell
go to
me.
Sonic?
Yeah.
She would lock herself up in the bathroom and cry. I mean, it hurt my.
I'm like, honey, this is interrogation, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're killing me.
Yeah.
One day, and then I don't know what it was, but
I just got so we used to have this rule when we first got married, when we were dating. We're like, okay, if it's over $100, let's both agree on it. Now that rule has been gone. For quite some time.
We
Yeah,
try to
it's
stick
up
to
there.
that too.
Yeah. So, but it was I just was frustrated. I'm like, you know what, dude, I'm done. You handle the finances. And I just turned it
Yeah,
over to
you
you.
did.
Early on in our marriage, I just got I'm like, why am I arguing with you? Why am I
because
fighting
it was
with you?
so uncomfortable, and really it made me have to step up. Right?
Yes.
It was really weird how we transitioned that of like, because we have shared accounts, like we just have all our accounts are together, right? Like we don't have, I mean, except for our sneaky account, but like it's always been our money, right?
Yes.
And so, but what it did is I had to step up. I really had to step up, and then started really paying attention. And and I'm still the spender in the family. Like Corey's got ideas and stuff, and I just put a bid on a $25,000 Jeep yesterday too on eBay.
There you go.
See, these are the things I don't know about. I still shop at TJ Maxx, and
To Target.
Like,
Target gets there every time.
I'm just I like some nice things. Corey has
Right.
always been the bigger spender.
I usually buy her jewelry because she
Hold
can't
on,
buy it on her
go
own.
back to this Jeep thing.
Oh.
What are you talking about?
Man, I went. Yeah, well, we'll talk about it.
It's a bid, right?
It's Christmas. Yeah, I mean, I probably won't win.
Is Daddy buying himself a new present?
Man, I went with a bunch of guys, and they went on a Jeep thing here in Arizona. And it was really cool. And so they're like, "You got to join the club." It's like, so I was like, "This is like a mastermind." Right?
Oh,
There
it's
you
an
go.
investment.
Same amount of money, right? I mean, but I get a Jeep out of it. And
I thought it was for a
these
daughter's
guys
16th
sold me.
birthday.
No, this is for Corey.
I love that.
Because this is what got me. Ready?
Okay.
They're like, Corey, we're gonna use these Jeeps as tools to go meet and put a friend or someone, a good, like Raymond, you're gonna be in my Jeep one day. You're gonna fly out and you're gonna come wheeling with me and my little group of friends, and we're gonna put you in a Jeep. And we're gonna create some relationships, and we're gonna build the bonds, right? And dude, that's all I needed to hear. I'm like, dude, I'm in on that idea. Like that's growing. That's going to move my business forward. I already know it is.
Love it.
Well, Christy and I are going to start a yacht club.
There you go.
We just gotta put a bid on a boat.
We're going to put a bid on a boat, and it's going to be a women's mastermind.
There you go.
It's gonna be lots of wine.
Yeah, with lots of wine.
But at the end of the day, you guys are a true testament of couples coming together and really working the business and in love. I mean, there's no doubt you guys are in love. I can see it. I can hear it. Right? And that's special. Not very many people get that gift. I see people, I mean, honestly, you look at our neighborhood. We see people all the time that are walking around in a marriage not fulfilled or happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And it's sad.
It is.
And it doesn't have to be that way, I don't think.
I mean, to go back to, and I agree with you.
Yeah,
And
I
to go
have
back to
my
your question,
answer.
yeah, I think I have
Don't
mine
forget
too. Is it the same?
I don't know. Go.
For me is commit, like all in. Like I'm committed to her, and I'm committed to this business. And come hell or high water, no matter what, we're gonna make this work. We're gonna figure it out. And once we made that commitment to ourselves, to each other, and then to the business, like we were gonna figure it out. It's just inevitable. It was just not in God's time. It was just bound to happen, and we weren't gonna. I wasn't gonna let her go anywhere. She wasn't gonna let me anywhere, and we're gonna figure it out no matter what. I think that's the biggest thing is people give each other like the option of, hey, if it doesn't work out, there wasn't a plan B. We're all in, and we're all in together. And this is the vision we both shared of what we wanted our lives to look like. So that's my answer.
And I think to piggyback off that, like, and know that there's going to be seasons, like we were talking about. Know that there's going to be, like right now we're in a great season of our life, and we also know that 2 years ago we were in a really crappy season of our life where we were closing down our business. We were learning how to be parents. I was, dealing with becoming a mom. Like there was a lot of bumps, right? But we had prepared for that as best as we could, right? By building those foundations so that we know like there's going to be hard times and things are going to happen and being committed to figuring it out together. And I think for me, my answer to build off of that too would be like have those tough conversations. Like I think the reason why people are so unhappy is because they're holding so much inside, and then it just builds resentment on resentment on resentment on resentment when it comes to money, when it comes to like right now, for us, the holidays, like dealing with each other's families is
it's a real.
Yeah,
it's
she's
special.
got some special people, and I've got some special people, but together we make it work.
But we know that it's coming,
but we
so
know.
we prepared for it, right? So today we went to breakfast together and we just kind of hung out. We had our
We had us
peace time, and
Yeah.
then we know that later on there's going to be some chaos. But like being okay with that, but really having those conversations that are going to move the ball forward in your relationship versus throwing everything under the rug and brushing it off, and then one day it just explodes, and then you've got two unhappy people because nobody talked about what they needed to talk about or what they needed to say. And obviously through the years we've learned how to say things a lot better, but at the beginning
I can tell you guys.
Yeah.
It's communication, right?
Yeah.
And being honest with that.
being
communication.
100% honest.
Well,
Like, even if it, like today I told him something that apparently
Was
hurt
rough,
him, but
yeah.
bothered him. But I was like, I was just telling you how I felt. And I was like, I wasn't telling you this to make you feel bad or to hurt your feelings or to make you feel worse because he was already feeling not good. But I was like, I need to speak my truth because if not, all that's going to just bottle up. And then one day it's going to really explode into something unnecessary.
And sometimes you get the right reaction because sometimes when that hurts, like Shelley does that to me sometimes. And I was like, man, that really hurt my feelings. She's like, well, I didn't want to hurt your feelings, but like, I'm just like telling. And you're like, then you gotta eat it. And you're like,
Yeah.
That was a hard part
Yeah.
for me today. I had to own that, right?
Yeah.
So but once you own it, and kind of like I think the second point that we share as a group here together is you see that amongst great couples is the commitment to personal development and growth, both together and individually, right? So that you guys are growing together, so that the relationship is growing together. We go to events on relationship together, like we invest in our relationship, and I think that's in yourself first.
you're dating
right? So
all the time.
Yeah.
Like you guys are trying to do stuff. Even and you have kids, but you're still dating. You're still making time. Like you said earlier in the show, it was like we're going on vacation. We're going to bring someone to watch our kid, so we can go do some stuff on our own. Right. And sometimes you've got to plan.
We've always done that.
Yeah.
That was our gift to ourselves. I think for children, the best gift that you can give your children is loving parents, having a loving relationship. So every anniversary, Corey and I, we've always made it a point to go somewhere or do something. If you don't have a lot of money, go do a vacation, or we call it staycation in Arizona. But just do something together as a couple without your children. Oftentimes I have a lot of friends that are like, oh, well, I can't leave my children at home. Oh, I got to bring them with them. I'm like, well, girl,
Girl, you gotta leave.
I'm like,
kids.
you gotta spend the one-on-one time with your spouse. That's the best gift I believe that you can give your children, is having a great marriage and being that role model for your children. And so now Corey and I are we're in these years of where we're experiencing almost the empty nester.
Our
so
kids
you
don't
guys
even
are in
care
the
about
infancy
us. Oh,
stage.
yeah.
Right.
I'm going to tell you to enjoy your daughter to the moon and back, because once they get in high school
14
and they
to
have
15
friends,
things change like dude. I mean, where are our kids? We're downstairs.
I feel like
and they're up in their rooms doing what they do. We're like, dude, are we? It's
I
like,
feel like it's just us
it's
now.
a preview of what's happening. It's
Yes,
gonna come.
it is.
What it's gonna be like,
And you know what? I'm so thankful that I like this guy a lot.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
think
That's what
about it.
happens.
Yeah, there's a lot of families out there where they've grown apart, and the only thing that's kept them together is their children.
Kids,
And I'm telling you, when the kids leave the nest,
Yeah.
Guys, final word for you guys on what you'd like to tell any listeners out there about relationships and business.
I think just even if you don't work together, right? Like we have our business together, but even if you don't work together in the business sense, like you're still working together. You're still running a household. You're still raising children. You're still paying bills. You're still doing all of these day-to-day things. So that for us is huge when we meet other couples or even friends of ours. It's like you're still running a business. Your marriage and your life is a business, right? You still have to do all these certain things to get to that next level, and you want to make sure that you're enjoying the process. And if you're not enjoying it, then do something about it, right? Because that's what happens. We brush things under the rug and we just don't look at it. And we both experienced, from our parents being divorced, it sucks, right? It's not fun. Like divorce is never a good thing. And like Ray says, it's also really expensive, not just financially, but in so many other ways. And just like if you treat your business, if you would treat your relationship like most people treat their business, then like you're paying attention to it, right? You're constantly nurturing your business. Do the same with your relationship. And it's just, and the better a relationship you have, the better business you're going to have. Like that, I 100% believe in, no matter what. The better your relationship is, the better you're going to show up to life, the better you're going to parent, the better you're going to feel, the better you're going to, look, the better you're going to everything, right? It's such a strong foundational piece of life that once you get that piece going, everything else is going to flourish. So
I love it.
Yeah, I agree with
preach,
that.
Christy, preach.
I agree.
Ray's like, drop the mic.
Oh, I love it.
Mic drop.
So listen, I want to plug a couple things here before I let you guys go. First of all, your guys' business, Summit Home Buyers, for lending, because you help multifamily guys, people like me. It's all about relationships. So you need to go probably start a relationship with Raymond. How do they find you guys?
We're on Facebook. I'm on Instagram
business,
as well.
For business.
Oh, for business, you can. Best thing probably do is just email me and or have Corey make an intro. If they know you, Corey, make an intro. Everything we do is relationship driven. So if we someone makes an intro, and that's how we do that. We do regular hard money, and then we also do multifamily lending as well.
Cool. And then on the relationship side, your podcast is called Both on Board, right?
yes.
And so if you like this stuff, because this is all you guys do, just an extreme amount of coaching. This is where I think you, Christy, you do your best teaching. I mean, I've listened to your podcast, and I love. I mean, it really is. You're very good at it, by the way, and you bring it. And it's really enjoyable to listen to.
Thank you.
I'm just going to highly recommend that you check out Both on Board, especially if you're in a relationship or you're thinking about getting a relationship. It really has some valuable nuggets that I think that you can use to grow your life and your experience and your business, and to do it in a way that just makes so much sense. So, guys, with that said, man, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for showing up and being part of this week. Take us a while to get us on our schedules.
Yeah, we'll figure it out though.
Honey, you got any last comments you want to say?
No, thank you, honey, for having me on the show. And it was such a pleasure meeting you finally, Christy. And just her and I are like kindred spirits.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you, Shelley.
Well, for everybody out there listening, listen, everything happens. It starts with, a plan and really more importantly, an idea. The power of our brains, the power of your thoughts and your thinking and what you believe is so vitally important to life and success. Because if you believe it, you can achieve it, and your paradise is possible.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Rock and roll, man.
No sooner.
Cool.